Hello, I'm Judah,
And Zion,
and we are the Amateur
amateur
Film
film
Critics.
critics.
And Zion, it's the end of season 3.
Yes.
I think it's been, looking at the list in front of me, it's been an interesting season, if that's a good way to put it. We have been
We have,
all over the place with the movie choices. I feel
Yeah.
like in past, we've either leaned really heavily on really old movies or really heavily on maybe actiony or just classic movies. This time we went all over the place, and this might be the most
yes.
spread out in like types of movies that we've been
Yeah.
ever. And so that brings us here today, Zion. We've had a quite an interesting bunch of movies, and I think it's time that we rank them in our season. What is our season finale tradition?
Yes.
Zion has a little bit of a surprise for this finale too, but
Yeah.
I say we just get right into it.
Okay.
All right, so number 13, and I don't think this should be any surprise to anyone in the room, is the Gumby movie.
Yeah, I figured that would be pretty low.
I have never hated a movie more than the Gumby movie. And if my
hate is a strong word. Hate is a strong word.
It is, but I think that's a good description of how I feel about the Gumby movie. Holy cow. I can go on this rant all over again, but it's just better for you to go watch our original episode about it. Don't watch the movie, but go watch our episode on it.
Go watch the movie.
Don't go watch the movie. But Zion, in comparison, what do you have?
Number 13, I have Goopy. Ew.
Okay, alright.
I know you said some things about the live action Scooby-Doo.
I did.
And also compared it to another film, which I think...
We've compared a lot of films to a certain
a lot of other...
But yes, I know I said some things about it, and I'm not surprised it's at the bottom of your list. I'm slightly surprised. I expected one to be lower than it for sure.
I was debating on two. Okay. Well, there were a lot of ones I was debating over, but
yeah,
I thought this one, because of the burp scene, because of
you really hate that burp scene. Yeah,
it was just pointless.
Yeah,
it was very pointless. But anyways,
if it makes you feel better, though, my number 12 does happen to be Scooby-Doo.
Oh, you did put it lower than
I did.
Another film. Wow.
Yes, I did. I know that makes you happy.
You said something else in the.
I know I said something else, but at the same time, looking back on that movie, we all make mistakes. Might I remind you that we both amateurly approved Cruella for her season? So
yeah.
So our minds changed, and I felt Scooby-Doo it was a number 12 movie. Speaking of, before we go on to your number 12, we should say that we did add The Wedding Singer into our list of season 3 movies.
Oh, yeah.
It was technically a Valentine's Day special. We just figured, hey, let's add it in and rank it with our other ones because So yes.
Okay.
You want to tell us your number 12 though?
My number 12 is Murder on the Orient Express.
All right.
I know you're gonna get very mad at that. It just was not my cup of tea.
It's somewhat not.
It's just not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea.
Oh, it's not. I know it's not. I knew it was not your cup of tea going into it. I absolutely.
Yeah, that's why you chose it. That's why you chose it.
Yes. I was hoping, because sometimes you really surprise me when you watch a movie and you like it. I had hope.
Well,
All right. Number 11. Zion, switch it up a little. Do you want to tell us your number 11?
Yeah, I put Citizen Kane as my number 11.
Okay.
Was that also
Okay.
yours, or?
No, actually.
Oh, wow.
My
Okay.
number 11 is Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
Really? Okay.
Yes. And
Okay,
looking
wait.
back on
I
it,
never explained. I never explained why I put Citizen Kane there. It was in. Oh, so Citizen Kane is considered a classic.
yes.
It's also the name of a very good segment from one of the trios of uh, horror episodes from the Simpsons, where
Yeah.
Kane and Kodos pose as Bill Clinton and the other guy who was running for president at the time. A classic moment from the
Classic moment.
but
Yes.
um, it just for me, it was hyped up a lot as this political drama, but then turned into just a romantic.
Yeah, and it wasn't even that romantic. It was just a boring film about his life. Like, you
Yeah,
would have thought it might be a biopic at that point, the
yeah,
way they did some of it.
yeah, yeah. I was going into Citizen Kane from all the Simpsons references and how they put
Yeah,
a lot of references to this film and a lot of their more political episodes,
yeah,
but they
absolutely.
got wrong. But anyways, let's get into yours. Yours was
So mine was Beneath the Planet of the Apes, and looking
yeah
back on that, I might be slightly miscorrect in putting Citizen Kane above it, because Planet of the Apes was without a doubt more entertaining to watch in a way it was just that bad. Like, in the point that it was, like, just
was
that
yeah
bad that you couldn't, like, help but not watch it in a way.
like
Um,
yeah. I mean, I think as a whole, because I've watched all five of the original Planet of the Apes, I figure this
yeah,
is not the worst one. This is not the worst Planet of the Apes.
that's a good point.
I think the third one is way worse.
Yeah, absolutely. I do
Third
agree.
one
The
is way
third
worse.
one, guys, after
So don't
going
watch.
into this movie, we were not going into the first Planet of the Apes, because we watched that one right after, or at least me going to the first Planet of the Apes was not what I expected. And then by the time we get to the second one, you really realize that we've just gone
But
off the deep end. It's
I will say though, the third one is the worst one.
yes,
But if you watch them all in order, then you kind of need to watch it to know what happened in the fourth and fifth one.
yeah.
The fourth and fifth one get way better though, so don't.
Okay, that's good. It is funny
Anyways,
because
yeah.
they keep on an ongoing storyline during this. I haven't seen the fourth and fifth one. They left HBO Max before I had time to watch them, sadly. But they might be back on. We'll have to check. But honestly, all three of them had this ongoing storyline in a way, so
Yeah.
it was funny. But to make it up to you, Zion, I will tell you that number 10 on my list is Citizen Kane.
Okay.
So coming
I don't
around
know
to
if we
it,
need to get further into that one.
yeah, we don't need. It was just boring. Like that's
It's not boring.
that's the biggest takeaway about that movie. It was way more boring than you'd expect.
I think the only two qualities I think people remember this for Orson Welles' acting and
Yes,
some of the camera shots that they get. Those are the only
absolutely.
those are the only two good qualities that you can take away from that film.
Yeah,
The rest of
sadly,
it, not that good.
yeah. Sadly, the plot just did not come through.
Yeah. Okay.
So you want to
So
talk about
my
your
number
10? Yeah.
my number 10 is Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Okay.
So as you could,
Okay.
so if you saw our review,
Yes.
I liked the original parts of Ghostbusters life. I was not a fan of them just. I was not a fan of them just redoing stuff from the first one though,
Yeah. And,
and so that's where. Yeah, and so that's why I put it at number 10. Is that
yeah.
most of it is just rehashing on stuff that fans of the first one remember.
Yeah. I totally understand. And while it's not my next one, I will say that I'm very soon going to give my opinions on Ghostbusters Afterlife, depending because of where it is on my list.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
Zion, what do you have for number 9? Is what I'm really
Number
curious about.
9. No, number 9 I have Encanto.
Shut up!
Wait,
That's my number 9.
sweet.
Wow. I love
That's
every season we've had that one or two movies where we put in the exact same place. Yeah, my number 9 is also Encanto. We get into this in our very very chaotic review of this film. um, uh, the music, I think we both agree, really came through in this movie. Which,
Music is what I think is why people remember it mostly is for his
yeah,
mostly the songs. The rest of it was okay, you
yeah,
know.
it was honestly kind of a very basic Disney movie in our opinions,
Yeah,
as far as like plot wise and stuff like that. I think the
but
characters might have been better
yeah,
than some other Disney characters we've seen in the past for sure,
yeah,
but the
but
plot was just not there for us.
yeah, I also think we weren't the age range that they were trying to go for.
Oh yeah, not at all. And we've talked about this before, is that we do feel like Disney slash Pixar has maybe dumbed down their movies in recent
Maybe
years, which is kind of sad. But at the same time, it's still, I
it
would
was
still say
okay.
it's a good movie, and the
Yeah,
music of it really does save it for sure.
yeah. The music saves it. Okay, did you want to say your number 8?
Yeah, so my number 8 is Ghostbusters Afterlife,
Yeah,
which, I mean, I agree with Sign on some of the parts. I believe that them redoing like that boss part and all that, it kind of messes with the
man,
whole.
and they didn't even do the one part about the boss that everyone remembers
Yes,
as the boss turns into something gigantic,
yes,
which we wanted it to be uh, the doll because
that is true.
they showed that on the TV and we thought it worked perfectly, but
Yes, yeah, I agree. Like, I think there were a lot of good moments in the film.
yeah,
I just wish they would have been more original, especially with the main
or,
bad guy.
yeah,
Um, I'm not on the same level with Zion as like not liking. Excuse me. I'm not on the same level as far as not liking like the whole bringing back of all the Ghostbusters, including the one I forgot his name.
I mean, I like that they brought the ones that were still alive back.
Live
I
back.
wasn't a fan of them bringing back
I
the
I
ones who
thought
had
the
alive, but
yeah I thought the ghostly homage to him was nice,
but
but I can't see how you can see it as exploitative. I don't know if
yeah.
that's the right word for it, but yeah, I do understand that for sure. So
Anyways, my number 8 is
yes.
Jurassic World. I know you're.
Zion,
so,
you're just like
so
took a knife and stabbed it in me tonight. Jeez
okay,
Louise.
here is my opinions on Jurassic World. Okay,
Okay, I'm
I
ready.
love the parts. I love the parts where the dinosaurs, where it's kind of like Disney World in many way, and
Yes.
you see the dinosaurs interacting with the actual theme park.
Yes.
I was not a fan of some of the characters. I was not a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
I was not a fan of like some of the dinosaur scenes as well.
Yeah.
Thought thought I just thought we could have done more interesting things with some of the scenes, and maybe it's because I was not a fan of a lot of the characters. I will say,
Yeah, we're still have one of
yeah,
our greatest arguments of all. No, it's not an argument, but one of
no,
our
no,
biggest debates is whether or not Claire is a good character. I would say.
I was not a fan
Oh,
of the Claire character, but
yes, but I would obviously I'm going to disagree with you there, but I'll get into it later. I'll get
okay.
into it later. Number
Number 7.
7.
Do you want to say yours first?
You say yours first.
My number 7 is Legally Blonde.
Oh, really? Okay. I guess that makes sense.
I
Yeah,
know you're waiting for a couple of them. I know
yeah.
you're. Uh,
Well,
here's the thing. So after I enjoyed Legally Blonde. Okay, I
yeah,
enjoyed some of the jokes.
yeah,
My problem is it wasn't memorable. It didn't stick with me a lot,
yes, yeah,
and, and I think it's because I was. I think it's because I wasn't alive at the time, and
yeah.
so
When it came out, so I
I,
was actually sort of expecting us to have the same movie here,
oh,
which my movie was The Wedding Singer. Uh,
oh,
and honestly, because this is actually because we have 13, this is the most middleist ranked film on our list. And I
really?
honestly expected, because you and I feel like both had kind of a very middle of the road opinion of this film in a way.
I mean, I gave it a higher ranking than you did.
Yes, that's true for sure. But and I did like the film. It
Yeah,
was
I like. Yeah,
we go on the review obviously, but the nice things they did about it was just less Adam Sandler-y than a lot of his movies are, at
yeah,
least the ones we've seen. So it works better than most of those, I would say. But again, it's also just kind of a meh movie in a way because it's not anything super special in my opinion.
yeah.
It was good, but it wasn't super special. I would in any way.
Right. Okay. Uh, we have number 6 next.
Yes.
Who should go first?
Okay. And I'm now realizing something that I've done with this list that I don't like that I've done, but I'm gonna stick with it since we're here now. Um, my number 6 is Spider-Man.
Okay.
I know what that means.
Oh, I gotta get.
Considering the movies I
Oh, I
put above it.
approve of that.
Wait,
My
what?
approve of that. I approve of one you put above it.
Okay, yeah, you approve of one movie, but a lot of the other movies, like, especially what my number
Wait,
5 is. Now that
oh
I
wait.
compare the two, I almost went. Can I change this? Because now that I think about it, this is not
Well,
right.
yes,
Okay,
you can change
I'm
it.
gonna change it. Number 6 is not Spider-Man. Number 6 is Legally Blonde.
Okay.
I was kind of rushing. I kind of, in my defense, okay,
Yeah.
I
You was
totally
rushing.
forgot to make my list up until right before we started filming. So I was in a slight rush. I do think most of it is accurate for me, but putting Spider-Man below Legally Blonde is not.
Yeah, I did
Now,
that. Yeah.
Spider-Man was a good film, and I'll get more into it. But Legally Blonde, again, I did really like Legally Blonde. But it's just Spider-Man definitely did some more interesting stuff, in my
Yeah.
opinion. So yeah, that's
Okay.
what that's
So
what I have to say about it.
okay. So you've said your number 6 and no.
And my number 5, yeah,
And number 5. Okay.
yes,
So I will say mine. Number 6, I have Beneath the Planet of the um, Apes. I thought it
really,
was. I liked a lot of the sets that they had in that film.
yes,
Um, even though the first part is kind of more boringish, I think it gets a lot more interesting. And even though it is weird, it's kind of a laughable bad for me.
Yeah.
That way. But yeah, I did enjoy that one. Number 5, I have Gumby the uh, movie.
Oh, you're just really. I'm
So
sorry.
it's look, Gumby the movie is that high because I like. It's not that high because I like the writing of the film. It's not because I like the acting of the film. It's
Okay.
because I enjoy it more of artistically than.
I don't think anybody's ever used artistically and Gumby in the same sentence
Well,
before.
because if you think about it, I enjoy it because of the random plot things it does,
Okay.
and it just more of from an artistic standpoint.
Okay. Yeah. I
But
I sort of get it. I sort of get what you're saying.
yeah,
To
I know
argue,
those aren't your opinions, but
they're not my opinions in any way. And I've gotten into it. I've said this phrase multiple times, but I really made it clear in the movies we
that
watched or in our actual reviews of them. But ooh, wow, you're. I think this is the most opposite our lists have ever been.
already.
Uh, so that brings us to number 4.
Yes.
And I'm really sorry to burst your bubble, but this is where I put
Yeah.
the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, I
Oh,
figured that. I figured.
yeah. I figured that you'd be surprised that it got as high on my list as it did.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised it got as high on my
Um,
list as too. Yeah.
but at some point, there were obviously going to be movies that I liked more than this
Yeah,
movie.
at some
Which
point.
this movie was wild. I gotta say,
Uh,
this was a crazy movie, but it was actually somewhat good, and it was very entertaining for sure.
I'm
It's no.
I'm also surprised they liked it better than the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man film. That also kind of surprised me, but
Yeah, I'm realizing that now too, but I'm not going to make another change. And honestly, I think that I did find. I want to say that I did find. I, I, I don't want to say it, but I think that I did find the Brady Bunch movie more entertaining than the Tobey
yeah,
Maguire Spider-Man film.
yeah,
Um, Neither of them are obviously Tobey Maguire Spider Man did it was very popular culture. It did influence a lot of popular culture, but I'd say neither films are particularly classics in any way or uh, just greater masterpiece cinema, whatever you want to call it.
uh huh.
But I really do think this is where I have the Brady Bunch, and it's
Okay,
strange. But Zion's made it very clear on it. It's so interesting the concept of it
yeah.
in a way. But yeah, okay. So I'll let you talk
My
about your
number,
number 4
my
now.
number 3 is the
Or,
wedding singer.
wait, did you give your number 4?
Oh wait, we're talking about number. Oh, my number 4 is Tobey Maguire's uh,
Okay,
Spider-Man,
okay.
and I also just said my number 3 as well.
Yeah,
But
and your number 3. So go in depth for both of them.
Spider-Man, I enjoyed. I think it's just one of those films where kind of its time.
Yeah,
It's a classic for that time period. I mean,
absolutely. Yeah, I would agree on that for
plus
sure.
this was like the first big Spider-Man film. You know,
Yeah, I
ever
would
really think
agree.
about it. This is what brought. This is what maybe made the character a little more popular for its time. But yeah,
Absolutely. I would also say that it's probably the success of this
yeah,
and the X-Men films that helped lead to the MCU. Because
yeah,
I feel
yeah, yeah. That's
superhero
yeah,
films compared to where they were in Tobey Maguire's first Spider-Man, to
They
now,
have gone
there's
off.
there's a lot more respect for them in a way, you could say, or just popularity in
Yeah.
general. So yeah, I would say it's definitely classic for its time. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
agree with. I think that's a great sentiment about it.
As far as the wedding scener that goes, I don't know why I put it. I don't really have a reason for putting it as high as it did. I think I liked.
Yeah,
I like what they were doing with the whole time period. So, uh, I like that they were making a film about about the about that time period without it just being about that time period. If that
yeah.
makes sense.
No, yeah,
And
I
then
get it. It's because the funny part was when we watched it, I didn't even realize it was in the '80s. So it definitely does play on the '80s portion of it without it being like the whole big thing about it. I do
yeah,
get what you're
and
saying.
I also think that Adam Sandler's style of comedy is way better here than in
Hmm.
most of his other more recent films.
Oh
But
yeah, absolutely.
no, but
So
anyway, you could say you're
mine,
number three.
yeah, and this shouldn't surprise you, but it's the Karate Kid.
Oh yes, that's a good one.
So I really like this film. I think I summed up enough about it in the actual
Yeah,
review. So what I want to say is though that before we were starting this, I said there were two sets of two movies that I was debating on and where to put them on the list specifically. And the first set was my number one and my number two, which we'll get into that. But the other set was the Brady Bunch and the Karate Kid.
are you serious?
Yes. I was not sure which one was three and which one was four for me.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
Zion had originally guessed, I believe you guessed Legally Blonde and the Brady Bunch, which
Yeah.
honestly, I totally get that guess. What I find funny is comparing the Brady Bunch and the Karate Kid in just greater light.
Nowhere else would do that. Like
No one else
nowhere
would.
else would find that.
Like who in the entire world has ever compared the Brady Bunch movie to the Karate Kid? Or like,
But yeah.
but
So
yeah. So that's my number three.
okay. So how do you do? I want to do the next.
How do we want to do number two? Okay, so I think past ones we've just gone on and said both our ones and twos at the same time, or like in a row
Yeah.
at least. So do you want to go first, or would you
Yeah, I
like
can
me
go
to?
first.
Okay,
Okay. So should I say my number one and then my number two?
go ahead and say your number two, and then you can explain your number one choice.
My number two is the Karate Kid.
Okay.
I I think that the Karate Kid is a classic film.
Yes.
I think it, even though it's very typical of that time period, I still really like it and still really think it works really well for a
Yeah.
modern audience. And then my number one is my second favorite movie of all time, the Brady Bunch movie from the 90s.
I
With
shouldn't be
you
surprised.
shouldn't be surprised. No, you
I
should not.
Yeah, go. I mean, go ahead and talk about it for sure. This is
Because
your second
I
favorite
think
movie of all time, man.
I summed it up in the actual review, but I think it was very unique on how they decided to reboot the Brady Bunch
Yes.
and them not actually rebooting them, just taking the characters from the 70s and placing them in a 90s environment. But
Yeah.
I also like how they aren't just making fun of the past time period, but they're also making fun of their own time period in a way.
Yeah.
And I also like a lot of the jokes.
Yeah,
movie,
it's a very satirical movie, and the satire almost works for like most of the movie. Like,
well.
yeah, it's quite surprising. So that comes to me now. My number two, and this was I had these set, then I switched them. I'm not gonna lie, like right before we started filming. But my number two is Jurassic World. I know. Okay, I know. This was tough for me. Okay. Um, this was really tough actually. These two right here were super tough. Oh, because the reason the my top two movies are because I've talked about these movies. We obviously talked about these movies already, but the reason these movies are top two to me is less because they're just great pieces of film and slightly more just because I like them a whole lot. Like, obviously, we talked about Jurassic Park in our first season.
Yeah.
And that was like a nostalgia film for me, and I was pumped for Jurassic World when it came out, and when it came out I loved it, and to this day I still love it. But when it comes to films, I also really really like murder mysteries. Which is why my number one is Murder on the Orient Express. And when I think of how emotionally draining that movie is to me in a way, I just I can't help but not
what?
um like this movie really gets me in the feels, man. Which I know you do not feel that way at all.
Especially for how low I put it on the list.
You put it so low. When you said it, I was like, oh no.
I almost put it at the very bottom of the list.
Oh my gosh, that would have been the first time we were ever like complete different ends of the spectrum with our first or last like that. But yeah, I really like this movie. I think the plot is woven really well, and I like the performances by like a lot of the actors in them. So yeah, that's why it's my number one. So that brings us to your surprise, Zion. I do not even know what this is.
I think you might need something to write down on. We're going to play a little game. So I went on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
And I took the critics' rankings of these films and I put them on their own list. And so we're going to play a game where we compare our list to the Rotten Tomatoes critics lists.
I see. Okay.
So here's how the points works. You get 2 points if you have a film and exactly the number, it's just about where it is on the Rotten Tomatoes critics lists. Man, you get 1 point if you are one off.
Okay.
From which.
All right, this should be fun.
I'm gonna I'm gonna try to pull the document.
Yeah.
On another.
Here, I'll let you pull up the document. I'm gonna switch because in the middle of this, I made a change to my list with 5 and 6, so I gotta switch those around so that they're equal to what I said.
You can this out.
All right. And I'm just gonna use my current list, and I'll write the movies out next to the sides of them, and then I can add up points after.
Yeah. I also have the. Yeah, I'm gonna pull up the Rotten Tomatoes list, and then I can just read them off. And then I don't know how you want to tally your points up, but
okay, yeah, we can tally points up at the end if we want to do that too. But I'm gonna
like
announce our points as we get them.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab pencil and a paper and write my points up if you
Okay.
want to try to do the same. But okay. Should I read them off from 13 to number 1? Or
Yeah, so I'll let you just read them off. Read them
okay,
off from 13 to number 1. That sounds good.
so at number 13, we have Gumpy the movie with
Yes!
the critics. The critics gave it 20%.
So that's
So
2
that's
points
very
for
bad.
me.
And then number 12, we have Goopy Ooh with a
Oh,
30%. That is 1 point for me. I think that might be 2 for
that's
you.
that's another 2 points for me. I'm doing good so far.
Yeah. Number 11, we have Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
You're kidding me, right?
And then, sorry, it's. And then at number 10, we have Murder on the Orient Express.
Oh, that ruined my day.
You were doing so
Oh,
good until.
I was doing so good until they just ruined my number 1. Crud. Oh no,
And
I'm not gonna be sitting pretty from the rest of this. I bet.
so, wait, so Beneath the Planet of the Apes had 37%. Murder on the Orient Express had 61%.
All
Um,
right.
and
Ooh.
with these next films, their percentage by the actual critics was the exact same, and so this is the only time I used the
Audience.
audiences.
Okay, that's a
Uh,
nice tiebreaker. Yeah.
the critics both gave these films 63%, but at number 9, the audience gave the Brady Bunch a 47%, while they gave Ghostbusters Afterlife a 94%. And so that's number
So
8
number
and number
9
9.
is Brady Bunch,
Number 9
right?
is Brady Bunch. Yeah.
Number 8 is
And number
Ghostbusters Afterlife, which
8,
is actually where I had Ghostbusters Afterlife too. So
I'm 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 doing horrible.
I feel bad because I am actually on a pretty good roll right now.
Yeah, you're actually more like the critics than I am. Okay, and then number. Wow, yours is almost identical. Number 7 is The Wedding.
You're kidding me.
Uh,
I promise I did not look up scores at any time
yeah,
during my like decision making. I
the,
simply
the
like went
wedding
off what I was
singer.
feeling.
The wedding singer had 69. Number 6 is Legally Blonde with 70%. I get 1 point for that
That's
because
also where I had Legally Blonde because I
I
switched
know.
it after I realized that Spider Man was below Legally Blonde. Jeez
Okay,
Louise.
and then number 5 we have Jurassic World at 71%.
The critics just
Uh,
don't get it, man. It's just not.
Number 4 we have the Karate Kid.
Ooh.
Put the Karate Kid at 89%. Number 3 we had Spider Man with 90%. And then number 2 we have Encanto with 91%.
That, yeah, listen.
How
I
did
mean,
that
I'm
get
not.
number?
Yeah, neither of us were ever had a chance of gaining Kanto, right? We were definitely in the unpopular opinion about this film.
And then
Um,
number 1 with a whopping 99%. Citizen Kane.
good gosh. We were also in
We
the unpopular
opinion for
opinion with
Citizen
that
Kane.
one too. Okay, so let's tally up our scores.
Okay,
Um,
I only got 2 points, so that
wait.
shows you
All right,
how
so
popular my opinions are.
yeah, I got 2 points for Gumby, 2 points for Scooby Doo, 2 points for Planet of the Apes, 2 points for Ghostbusters Afterlife, 2 points for The Wedding Singer, 2 points for Legally Blonde, and 1 point for The Karate Kid, bringing me to a total of 7 points. And you know what? I would say that this means I think a lot like the critics, but at the same time, above all of these is like much lower films on the list.
Yeah.
So you can't say that it says that much about the way we think about these films. But
yeah, so we're not in the popular opinion, obviously.
In no way are we in the popular opinion. Other than maybe like Gumby. Other than Gumby for me, that's the only like place where I'm in the popular opinion on this. So Zion, it's been a good season.
Good season.
Next,
do we reveal what the?
I think we go ahead and confirm it because I really like this next season idea that you had.
Okay. I actually have a pop of it here. Next season, May the 4th season be with you.
Woo!
Skywalker Funko Pop with Grogu. We are reviewing this. You know what? I won't reveal what we're doing, but May the 4th season be with you.
May the 4th season be with you should give it pretty well away. But we will see you guys then. We hope you enjoyed this season. I think we enjoyed it. I gotta say, it's been, again, a very interesting set of movies, but it's been fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.